Spain absolutely cooked, absolutely fried, deep fried Saudi Arabia today. 4-0. Could have been more, should have been more. But this was a standout performance from Spain. The first game they played Cape Verde and they should have won the game, but Cape Verde, respect to them by the way. I just finished watching them against Uruguay and they could have won against Uruguay. That was a very good performance from them by the way. Today, and even the performance against Spain, they played very well. But we're talking about the Spain game in this video, Spain against Saudi Arabia. And that was a brilliant team performance from Spain. That's a World Cup favorites performance. People might say it's Saudi Arabia, but this was one of the most one-sided games I've seen in the World Cup. Saudi Arabia, I'm surprised that they didn't come into the game wanting to, defend a little bit more. Yeah, they have some decent quality, like their captain, for example, is a good player. Some little qualities here and there, but they should have learned from Cape Verde. They should have watched that game, Cape Verde against Spain, and bring that into this game, the way they defended. They should have done this, in my opinion. If I was the manager of Saudi Arabia, I would have been going to this game wanting to be defensively compact and go on counterattacks, kill them on counterattacks. I don't know why the manager didn't do this, because it looks like he wanted to play in a way. And like when I saw them trying to defend, the defense looked way too open. It looked way too open. And it looked so obvious that Spain are going to score eventually. And the first goal comes from the young boy from Barcelona, Lamine Yamal. The first goal was World Cup, the first goal ever in the World Cup for him. One of the youngest players to score in the World Cup, of course, young kid. And yeah, he came out from injury and he scores straight away. And he was cooking that in that right side as usual from Yamal. And yeah, Oyarzabal, the Sociedad striker, great performance from him. Should have had a hat trick, but I think the way he was linking up play, the way he was, clinical in his finishes, it was a brilliant performance from him. Brilliant performance from him, which benefited the team, and also individually scoring the goals. I think his performance is one of those. It's not just the goals. I think he's, always going to be, under the radar because obviously he's at Real Sociedad, one club man, loyal to that club. If he was in a bigger club, obviously you probably talked about way more, but he's at Real Sociedad. But he's always going to be under the radar. And that was a good performance from him. I think Rodri, good performance from him. Solid, on the ball as usual, linking up play, passing, long passes, short passes, great from him. And this is why, Madrid, we're going for this guy at one point. Maybe we're still looking at him, maybe, I don't know, but this is why we want him, because we see what he can do when he's at his best, when he's fully fit. When he's fully ready, he does performances like that. And Cucurella scored a goal, which obviously I haven't made a video about him, but he's a Madrid player now. Since I made my last video, he's signed for the club. And yeah, he scored a goal, which I want to be shameless and say it's his goal, but obviously it's an own goal. And yeah, Spain dominant this game. Deserved the win by far. And now they're back on top of the group. 4 points. Uruguay and Cape Verde both have 2 points since they both drew their first 2 games. And Saudi Arabia are last place. They lost in Spain by, bad goal difference for them. And they drew against Uruguay, so they only have 1 point. So I think this is a very close group. The last game week, Spain versus Uruguay, Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia. It's going to be a very, very tight game, or a very, very exciting last, game week. We're going to see who's going to finish top, who's going to finish second, third, who's going to finish last. And, I always love an underdog story in the World Cup. I would love to see somehow, Cape Verde finish top of the group by the end. But, I think they can beat Saudi Arabia. I think it's possible for them to beat Saudi Arabia. But Uruguay, they're too open defensively, which, I think Spain will probably beat Uruguay, so Spain will win. And if Cape Verde win, they will at least be second place, which is great for them. And I think even if they're third place, I think, since this new format, third place can still get you into the round 32. And yeah, so they have been playing very well, Cape Verde. And I think they deserve to be in knockouts by the way they perform, because today, the way I saw them play, they were good in attacking, they looked dangerous. Obviously, they need to be more clinical in attack. They scored 2 goals, but they could have won the game. But they actually looked exciting in attack. And defensively, they looked good. They looked, even though they see 2 goals, they have that spirit. That spirit when you're giving it all for the team, for the country. I see that in Cape Verde. And yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts about the group, about the Spain performance today, a little bit about the Cape Verde, underdog story, and, the disappointments for Saudi Arabia and Uruguay's, not able to get the win today when they're supposed to be getting the win. So my next video will probably be a next review about a game, maybe the upcoming World Cup games tomorrow. But yeah, the World Cup's been great so far. I've been loving the games. I've been loving it so much to the point that I forget to make videos about the World Cup. That's the love of the game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys very soon. And yeah, peace.